Yeah, so the recording has started. So basically for this I'm using US primary ledger. Okay, so I'll give access to the particular ledger. So the role that I'm using is, as I said, it's general accounting manager. Okay. Yeah, so it is here. So the navigation is under journals. So on the right hand side, in the task list, so we'll find something called create allocation rules. Okay. So this will open second screen. So this is basically an EPM component. So I'll just give access to this open. Okay, so this is the landing screen. So you will find something called calculation manager. So under this you will find your list of chart of account structure, or that is the cube. So when you basically create your chart of account structure and you submit your accounting configuration, so system will create cubes. So whatever we are finding here, it's nothing but the cubes. So when we talk about cubes, so you have basically your chart of accounts, and then you have your journal information. Okay, and then you have your accounting hierarchies and the related balances. So all these things are called as the component of cubes basically. Okay, so now for this, so you'll have something called dimension. So now what is dimension? So dimension is what do you call the criteria, or it's a component wherein we call this as an filtration to build your report or to generate your balances. So one such dimension that you call it as is your accounting period. Okay, so that is another dimension. So this space balance cube is basically is called as multi-dimensional cubes, because if I have, so this is similar to your pivot, wherein you can just drag and drop the fields and you can generate your report, or you can view your balance basically. Okay, so that's why it is called multi-dimensional cubes. So now, so whatever you're finding it here, so those are basically your chart of account. So what you will find here is that primarily your chart of accounts, and also you have something called budget. So if you have loaded the budget and you have published your budget cubes, so then you will find it in this list. Okay, so we have actually created this US primary ledger, and we have the cube for this. So I'll just take that cube. So under that you have two things. So one is that rule, and the other thing is formula. So now rule, when you will use rule is that, so rule is a static thing wherein you know these are the components that needs to be used. So let's say I have a requirement wherein I pay consultancy charges. So let's say I'm implementing Oracle Cloud. I'm implementing for a customer. So now company is paying me the charges whatever I'm collecting it. Okay. So now this charge is not paid only for head office, because this has been implemented across cities. Okay. So now I wanted to charge based on the location that I'm implementing this product. So now head office will pay, which means it is paid in a single location, but then I wanted to distribute it across the location. Okay, so for that what I will do is it, because here I know what is my cost involved in it, and I will know what are the locations that I wanted to distribute. So these are static, so I don't need to go for formula. So formula is a place wherein if you want to probably give your source and then give your offset. So it is similar to your rule, but not exactly. So that's the primarily difference between your rule and your formula. Okay. So formula is little bit flexible. So that's the thing. Okay. And you don't have multiple options. Like if you see here, you have your allocation range, and then you have your source, and then you have your basis. Okay. So there are a lot of things that you will see in rules, but in formula you will not find all these components. So what you will find there is that you have your source, then you have your allocation, and then you'll have your offset. So these are the three things that you will find in. Okay, so that's about it. Okay, so now here if you see, so this is our cube. So I'll just expand this option. So I'll find this one, rule set. Okay, so rule set is something that if you have multiple rules, so let's say you have created, let's assume two cases. So one is that the consultancy fees that we wanted to distribute across the location, okay, and another thing is that rent payment, which I wanted to probably distribute across the departments, okay. So there are two things. So let's say I have a structure such a way that I have my company, I have my location, I have my project, okay, and then I have my department, then account, and future one and future two. Okay, so now the first case I have taken it as a location distribution, and the second case I am taking it as an cost center specific, which means the department specific. Okay, so now in order to have this as an one specific rule, what I will do is that I will create this as rule set. So my rule 1 and rule 2 will go into this rule set. So why will we do this is that when I'm running this allocation month on month, when I'm running this, so I don't want this to be created or ran as a 10 or 12 different rules. Instead, what I will do is that I'll run once. So this will take care of all these allocations that system should spread across the period. Okay. So that's the purpose of rule set. Okay, yeah, so probably I'll create a rule. Okay, so in real time you will not have basically multiple this thing. So since it is in test you are having it. Okay, so I'll create a new object, so saying it's for rent allocation. Okay, I'll say okay. Okay, so this is the screen. So where we will create the allocation rule. So first I'll add the point of view. So here point of view is nothing but your criteria basically. So as I said, so we have multiple dimension. So what is that we wanted to basically put as a criteria? So let's say I have a period and then I have my actual or the budget. Okay. So now what is that I want to see? If I want to see this as an action or if I want to see this as PTD, YTD, all those things we call it as criteria or point of view, because these are static values. So I'll give as it is. Okay. So then I have the allocation. So this is where basically we are defining the rules. So how do we want to basically generate this thing rules? Okay. Okay, so these are the criteria. So first thing I'll give the criteria. So here, so if you see the accounting period, okay, so accounting period, if you are going to run only for a specific period or let's say yearly ones or quarterly ones that you are running it, so probably you can change here the accounting period and run it, but it's not the case for all the times. So now there are certain cases. So if you see this consultancy charges, so it's kind of an one-time activity, or probably based on milestone we will run this particular rules. But whereas rent, so it's not the case. So you will know that this period you will have to pay, and then the next period, and consecutively the other periods as well. So for this, you will not be able to change it every time. So what we will do is that we'll create something called variable. Okay, so just click this option. So you will find a function. So function is something that you can just pull the value. So it's very less likely used, but member and variable it's used more. So now, yeah,
Pull
member.
the, I mean, function is something pulling the value means I don't get it. It is
So now, if you click here function, so you will find something called attribute, or you will find something the descendant, meaning the child value. So now, if you want to get the child value of this parent, you will use function. So instead of directly using it, so you can derive the value from there. So that's the use of having the function. Okay, so here let's say I wanted to get the level 0 of descendant. So again here what I will do is that I'll have this as a member. Okay, so this member will be created, which means I have member 1, member 2 and member 3. So I can create it as one, and I can attach this function to this what do you call the dimension.
so here when it talks about attribute, it talks about the DFF value. So these are the standard function name that is available.
Yeah, this is additional information that we store, right? So that is what about the attribute. But I mean,
No,
it's not, yeah,
no, my question is here in the function name, right? There are four that is displayed like
correct,
UDA, siblings,
correct.
level descendant, and attribute. This is the standard value, or people have defined it.
No, not defined. So these are standard values given by Oracle. I
Oh,
don't
okay,
think we can define additional function to this. So these are standard ones.
got it. Okay.
Okay, so for this, what I will do is that I'll define a variable, because I don't want to have this accounting period as static. So I will take this as an what do you call the new creation. Okay. We should be finding an option called create here, but somehow I couldn't see the create option itself. Okay, I'll show this. So for time being, I'll use this one. Maybe I'll show how to create this because we will have option to create. So we'll have a button called create here. So I'm not sure if I should go out of this point of view and then create it. Anyway, I'll show there. Okay, so the member is something that the static value. So if I know this is static value, so I can give this as member. Okay, so here in this case it is ledger. Okay, so I'll just pick US primary ledger. Yeah, it is here. So the account I'm taking is office rent. Okay, so cost center I wanted to distribute. So at this point, I'm not giving value for cost center. So because that is not static value. So I'll just leave only that and I'll pick the others or the remaining ones. Just give me a minute. Okay, so I think this we have seen. So the total entered and converted. So it's actually the total if we are not using foreign currency transaction. So if you are using foreign currency transaction, so then it is whether we wanted to have it as a functional currency or the foreign currency. So that's about the entered and converted. Okay. Yeah. So I have selected the point of view, and the next one, if you see, it's the source that we wanted to select. So source, I'm selecting this as the period activity. Okay, since I have given this as an PTD, so I'm selecting here as uh, period activity. Okay, and the scenario is total for allocation. Okay, and the cost center. Okay, so the cost center maybe I'll leave for now. I think the cost center is also mandatory. Okay, so this is the one that I will use to distribute basically. Okay, so let me just note this down. So this is 600. So the stat journal that I will create is for 610, 611, 612. So it's 20, 21, 23. Okay, so these are the ones that will create the stat journal. So this is, and I think I did not select the child one. Okay, fine. Okay, so this is the allocation range where we wanted to basically allocate. So now, so this is the allocation range that I wanted to use. So I'll select the parent value. So here will not be able to use the child values. So even if we try to use it, so it will throw an error saying only the parent values are allowed. Okay, so the one that we planned is 600. So that is the one that I'll pick here as well. Okay, so I'll just say next. Okay, and this is offset. So my offset is again this one, global. So that is global support under 200. So I have this global support. So I'll just take this one. Okay, so I'll click next. Okay, so this is the exclusion part. So when will we use this exclusion part is, so let's say in this hierarchy called sets 00. So I have 12 accounts. So now I don't want to distribute to all the accounts. So probably I wanted to distribute it only to probably 6 accounts. So the remaining sets I don't want to distribute it. So what I will do is that I'll have those 6 accounts added here. Okay, so that though so that system will not consider those 6 accounts or the 6 values for the distribution or the cost allocation. But this is optional. So for me, I don't have any exclusion. So I'm leaving this as a blank. So if we have, probably you can add. So the process is same. So you'll just select your member. Okay. So now this
Arun,
is base. Yeah,
here in the offset, right, we are giving only cost center as a dimension. Is that any way
correct.
that I can give two dimensions here, or is just restricted to one dimension?
No, it's just the one dimension that we will use. So if you are distributing it to cost center, it will be cost center, or if you are distributing by project, it will be project. So even there, if you see, so you will not find more than one field. If I just go back,
Here, the cost center is appearing because, in the point of view, I did not mention that is a member or a variable, right? That is
correct,
why for the offset it is coming. So, in the
correct.
point of view, if I leave two dimensions blank, will it get populated here, or
No, I don't think
something?
this will be appearing. I mean, I haven't come across this scenario, so probably you can check. No issues.
Okay, 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 fine.
Okay, let me remove this one also, the product segment also, and let's see.
So you're defining the source now.
Yeah, right. So I'm just saying if I have hierarchy. So here transaction would be then in that case. So this one. So the 840 and the allocation would be 8AA. I'll take this one. Yeah, that is correct. So if we give probably if I want to use 2 also that can be used it seems.
Got it.
Yeah.
So in this allocation rules, right, where do we actually associate the hierarchy, alternate hierarchy that we define?
Yeah, hierarchy it will be already defined. So I mean if you want to show so I can show
No,
that.
no. I'm saying how do we associate it here? We create it there, and then
Okay,
we are coming and creating the rules here, right? Where is the
correct.
point of linking that hierarchy to this rules?
No, here you are giving this range, right? So unless we have the hierarchy, so we'll not be able to complete this step.
Okay, so at the source level,
Yeah, no, not
after source,
source, the allocation
uh,
range.
allocation
So
range. Okay.
yeah, after source, if you come to allocation range, so we'll have to
Mhm.
give this parent account which has child accounts.
Okay, got it. So allocation range is where you are giving, we are tying up the hierarchies.
Correct.
Okay.
The yeah, right, the distribution part. Okay, so this is the basis. So basis meaning our static journal. So based on what basically we wanted to generate this allocation or spread our costing. So that's the thing here. Okay, so I'll just select the period here. So here the period would be 2023 November. Okay, November 23. Yeah, this is the one. Company is 101. Line of businesses. Then the account is okay. I'll have to create new one. So let me take this one square feet for time being. But basically, this is an account that will be created in the chart of account value set values. So we'll have our own naming convention. So in this case, it is square feet. So I'll just take this account. So 92000 and intercompany is again 0. Okay, so this is actual and the balance amount would be the ending balance and I will have this as YTD maybe. Okay, and the currency would be stat. And then the currency type. See, this is total. Okay, and then these are just optional ones. So if there is any negative, so what do we want to do it? So whether we want to abort or we want to treat this as zero or missing. So that's the option.
Oh, so if I give a currency here at the stat level, then I don't have
Okay.
to uh, uh, um, go up. I mean, over here in the basis, right? So
Okay.
if I'm giving, if I don't give the stat currency, is it? I can even give any USD currency also, right? Which will actually go distribute the actual ones. The
No, we cannot give because here if you see, so there are two things only. So in the source we are giving what is the source transaction, which means the actual expense that have took place. So this
mm,
is first thing. And second thing is that how do we want to offset? And third thing is that based on what? So here the basis is the stat journal that we are creating. So now uh, if you have this also in your functional or the foreign currency, so this will add a balance in your TB. So again, we will have to nullify that using the accounting effect. So if
but
you are fine that you can go with the foreign currency, but the traditional one is to use this one because we don't want to nullify it with the accounts and these things. So this will not add any impact to your TB, right? So
no, in that case, it will actually mislead when I'm creating the income statement, right? If I'm distributing this expense across my cost center, only then I can have my income statement reflecting the
okay,
correct expenses at each cost center, right? In that case, why don't I give the offset? Is the actual, right? It goes and offset with the actual account code, the account code combination, so that it goes distribute among, because I'm not changing the code, the account, it's only distributing to the different cost center, right?
no,
So
but
I
what?
can
Yeah, but
uh, uh,
what will happen is that so this is stat journal. So stat journal, first thing, it's not going to create balance, and second thing is that as a process, so when you say generate allocation, so that is going to again create a second journal, right? So if you give here again a journal, so instead of USD, sorry, instead of stat, if you are giving USD, so this is one journal and your source is one journal, and then the journal which system is going to generate, so this is another journal. So this is basically the third journal which will be created by system. So now to offset, so how do we offset is the question, right?
that's what I'm saying. So when we offset it, why don't we actually, it is like, when we create a journal, allocation is nothing but, instead of we doing it manually, the system calculates, right? So in that
Correct.
case, so if I'm offsetting my debit entry, if I have to, then the same source, when I'm creating the journal, the credit entry should be the debit entry of my original source, right?
Correct.
That will be my offsets. In that case, do I still have to use a SAT? In that case, it is distributed, right? So that the account, the even in the trial balance, that for the debit and credit, it might be for particular account, it can be reduced.
Correct.
But at the cost center level, when I'm doing it, the income statement, then it will go reflect the right income or revenue or anything like that, isn't it?
uh, Okay, let's put this in Excel so that it will be clear. Okay,
Mm.
so first is the expense journal. Okay, so now here, so this
Just
is
put an account, account as 1,000. Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Okay,
And your cash account. Yeah.
so this is rent. So on the debit, let me say this is $10,000.
Mm.
No, and
Cash
probably
account.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe 2,000. I'll have it as cash account. Okay, again $10,000.
So you
No,
when you're booking to the cost center, I say the cost center will be 500. Okay.
okay, so let me put here cost center also. So this is let's say 500 is the cost center. So let me call this as HQ.
Mm.
Okay, so both are HQ. So
Mm.
now here what you're saying is that so you will again book it under HQ, and the account what you are saying.
Account will be the same 1,000 rent, and it will
Okay,
be in credit.
okay,
Okay. Then in the allocation rule, once it got distributes, it will be distributed to 400,000, probably 3,000 value, something like that. Then 300, 200, and like two or three cost center with the same account. It will
okay.
be debited, right?
Okay,
Mm.
let me say branch one,
Mm.
and probably will distribute to 5 branches. Okay.
Mm.
So now this is my cost center, and
Mm.
what to I mean what
The account will be the same rent.
rent.
Mm.
Okay.
So
So
here, if you
this
distribute, you can distribute 1,000, 2,000, something like that. However, whether you have a rule or a formula,
okay, maybe we'll say
so it will be
2,000 each.
2,000 each. Yeah. So in that case, if you see this first entry, debit entry, it gets knocked off, right?
Correct.
So
No,
in
but
that,
this
if I
is
want the allocation to run like this, do I still need to use a stat journal?
no if no, but how system will see this is one line. So now I will need one thing is that I'll need the second line. Okay, so if you combine these two, so this is what this allocation journal will be create. I mean, system created allocation journal will look something like this.
Yeah. So I say at the balances, when you give the point of view, I say it should take a balances to for the period to date. Okay.
Okay,
So if it is for January, if the rent we have paid 10,000, then it will go that since because the point of view is a rent. So this is how we define, right? It is all member. Everything will be have a member, right?
okay.
So the variable only will be the cost center.
No, but how system will understand these are the cost center that it should pick. That's
Then
it.
that's where we are putting the allocation range, right? So in the allocation range, I say, okay, it's a rent. So there
Okay,
I associate all this, your child descendant value or anything I can associate here, isn't it?
okay. But this basis is mandatory, but you are suggesting that we'll give basis as the normal journal entry, which we are creating it here.
Because my basis is how we are going to allocate it, right? So in the
Correct.
offset, I can give the same number. Offsetting will be, it's a, we are saying it is a credit entry, isn't it?
Um,
How do
okay,
we
so
how the system picks the source entry? If the source entry is a debit, the offset will be the credit entry, right? If the source entry is credit, the offset will be the debit entry, right?
yeah, so that's what I was trying to say. So now here, if you see, so I wanted to distribute this rent. So now
Mm.
what I'm doing is that, so I'm creating one stat entry and telling to the system have it in the debit side. So debit side, because I wanted to distribute this here on the debit side, whichever I have it. So I wanted to distribute this particular part. If I want to distribute the cash entry, so when I'm creating the stat journal, so I'll put the amount on the credit side, so that so the distribution will happen on the credit side. But if we give only on the allocation range, so of course this will happen. So this range might happen. I mean, I haven't tested it, but logically speaking, so this range will happen. But
Mhm. Mhm.
uh, whether it should take the debit or it should take credit, so this depends on the basis that we give. So this basis you're suggesting we'll have it as an currency instead of going it for the stat journal. Am I
See,
right?
when you say basis, then when you say, I thought basis is just defining how you wanted to have your this debit entry, right? Because the first line, the
Correct.
rent 1,000 credit, it will be your offset entry, right?
Correct.
Then why do we have to mention in the basis the stat?
That's what I'm saying. So unless we define stat, so system will not understand, right? So how, where to put this allocation? I mean the range. How do we put on the debit or credit? System will not understand that. So if we are giving it, or let me take
So only
this.
if I give the stat, system will understand, it will go pick up, because stat is only for for non-financial transaction. If I
Correct.
have to capture it for reporting, it is okay. But this
Correct.
will have an impact, right? When we say utility bill or anything, then there is no point for me, for if it is not reflecting in my financial report. If it's a stat entry, then how do I actually report this in the financial report? Any
No,
financial
but
report?
no, but stat we don't need to report it, right? So what we will report it is that.
That's where my question is. So here when we say for stat, it is for completely for non-financial things, where I mean non-financial items, where I don't have to report it in any financial reports. It is only
Correct.
for the management. So here if you see rent is something, it is huge. Now I'm saying 1,000, but if it is HQ is paying for different branches, then it will be a huge amount, right? Then I
Right.
wanted to know on that portion for which rent I'm paying for which branch. In that case, if it is a stat entry, then we cannot include it in financial reporting, isn't it? So how, when I'm
Correct.
drawing my income and expenditure statement, then it will not reflect for that particular cost center for the branch. If I'm pulling, okay, fine, this is a branch. How much is this? So in that case, it will not reflect, isn't it?
Yeah, it will not reflect because we don't want that to be included in that report, right? That's why we are
Why?
putting this as.
Then we cannot draw a proper income and statement, right? If everything is control centralized, then if I
Okay.
have to draw, then how do the financial reporting, if it is for anything like communication bill, anything centralized, then if the
Okay.
management wanted to draw an income expenditure statement, then it will not reflect the right thing, right? How much am I spending? It can be for revenue also. I
Yeah,
can
it
do
can
this
be for
application, right?
anything. Yeah, it can
Uh,
be for anything. But only point that I could not understand is that how it will not give the correct information, because here if you see, so the entry that I'm booking or the transaction that I'm creating is, I'm saying headquarters is paying rent for all the departments. So this is not giving correct, because I I am having different branches, but it says that it's been paid only by headquarters. So now if I look at this transaction, so I have my rent as 10,000 and my cash as 10,000. So now if I club these two, so I will have this 10,000, so which will knock off this first line, and this will create another line which says again the rent account 2,000. So probably if I look at the combination, it will have multiple lines, right?
yeah, multiple lines debited and the cash will be the credit. So in that case, the system will have a perfect cost distributed to the cost center, right? Which can actually
Correct.
reflect in the financial reporting.
Correct.
So that is where my question is, like in allocation basis, do we need to define every time as a stat? because we are providing an offset, so it goes and offset my this rent account, right? Which
Correct.
is my credit entry in the allocation journal. When allocated journal runs, it will be the credit entry, right?
Yeah, correct. But
So
how
when I say it is a credit entry, the credit entry is in stat currency or in actual currency?
no, actual currency we cannot put, right? So if you are putting it in actual currency, so how do we say? Because see, in stat currency we are putting only one side, but in actual currency, so we cannot say only one side, right? Because the journal will not get passed, right?
So the allocated journal should be in the ledger currency. If you want to have it in ledger currency, the actual currency, then it should be in actual currency, right? Why is that every time we are putting stat?
No, if you are giving it in the actual currency, so it will not allow you to pass that journal itself, right? Because that will not balance at debit and credit, right?
Why? If we now it balances, right? Whatever we are trying to, if I manually, if I'm booking it as an accountant, if I'm booking it, this is
Okay.
how I book it, right? If I have to distribute, I have an invoice, then I have to distribute between the branches. This is how we book it. So we put a counter entry.
Okay.
Okay, this is how
Okay.
we book it. So instead of we doing it manually, that's where the allocation comes to rule, because if it is a big organization, every time we know this is how it's going to be there. So we are saying to the system, okay, fine, you do it,
Hmm.
generate it for me. In that case, then it should be the currency, right? The actual any currency, right? Why it is why are we booking it in stat? Why is that allocation journal is in stat? If it is for egg count, or if it is for space, square space, or anything like that, then I understand, because it doesn't have any financial impact. But all this has a financial impact, right? Then why are we choosing stat?
So if we are not choosing stats, so
Mm.
if you will pass actual currency based journal, so what would be your debit and what would be your credit?
That is what I'm saying. So in the offset, this will be my credit. Credit is my offset here, right? So I say this is my credit entry. The row number 11 will be the credit entry, right?
Correct, but this is
Uh,
generated by system, right? Based on the stat that we have given. If I have not given stat,
no,
system
the
will not
stat will
understand.
create only the debit entry, right? Whatever in allocation basis, I say how much it's evenly it should be allocated. So it will
No,
go
this,
create.
yeah. So this is based on the offset that we have given. So we have three basically. So we have a source, we have offset, and then we have this thing, what do you call,
Target.
basis.
Mm.
Basis. Yeah, target, right. So now here my source would be this. So I'm saying 500, and this is the account. Okay. So the first part is done. And second part I'm saying, so again here I'm not given specifically this is the account. So I'm saying offset is 500. So offset will always ask for the cost center or the project or whichever the segment that I'm putting there. Okay, so in this case it is cost center. So it will ask for 500. So now this is done. So the third part, the target one. So based on the target, system is generating this entry. Okay. So now the source is this. So this is offset, and we wanted to give basis. So the basis, for basis, so there should be an entry. So based on that, system will understand, right? So this entry, if we are giving it in the functional or the foreign currency, so how do we give it? So what would be our debit and what would be our credit? So that's the question, right?
So debit or credit is only it's depend upon your debit entry. Your offset account will be a debit or credit, right? Depending upon your source or thing. If I have to, how do differentiate? So you mean to say this will always the basis is credit debit entry?
No, that's what I'm saying. Always it is not debit. If I want to say cash account, I want to distribute this cash, so I'll say it
Mm.
is credit. So it depends on that.
So we don't mention in the rule whether it is a debit or credit entry, right?
No, we will not mention that. That's what I'm trying to say.
So so how do system generate properly? Like if I take cash and give here, because I don't give the account here. I just give the headquarter, the cost centers in the offset value.
No, that's
So
what.
how the
Yeah, that's what. So here, if you see, so I have my account here. So if you see here, so this would be my account for this one. And if you notice here, also we have given the account. So which means this is
is it the
offsetted
same account?
same account.
Okay.
Okay. So you want to give rent at both the places. That is source and so let's say 1000 will be here and 1000 will be here as well. Okay, so now I say
So in the offset, why are we not giving the rent account?
offset we cannot give it, no? So there is no option. I don't think there is an option. 1 minute, let me check. Yeah, that's it. Offset I don't have option to give the account.
Okay, somewhere I'm lost. Okay, fine. You carry on, Ashok. Sorry, Arun. I will read through it. We'll have a discussion next week. Somewhere
Yeah,
because in R12 it is like we give the code combinations for offset and the target and the source, and how I wanted to do it, I give the percentage. That's how
okay.
the cost factor, and we have a formula for it, and that's how the system takes it. Here, why it is always a stat, then why it is not? Because the expenses stat journal also I can create in R12. I can create it distributed within the actual currency also.
Okay.
But here in this define, whenever we define, I don't know like how the journal entry, when it creates, it will be in a stat journal, so which will not have a financial impact, right? That's where I got stuck. So you carry forward. I don't want to thing.
No,
I will
my
read
only
through it.
question is this. I mean, I'm not
Mm.
trying to do this thing, so I'm just trying
Mm.
to understand because I'm explaining what I have seen or I have did in this thing.
See, usually,
So,
usually, right, Arun, like when we go for all this cost distribution, we are doing, why are we doing it? We are doing it to pull a report which will actually reflect in, especially for revenue, when we're doing allocations for our cost centers. Okay.
okay,
On your revenue account, on your expenses account, if we are doing it, then that case for the utility bill or anything like that, so in that
okay,
case when I'm distributing, it has to reflect. I'm doing this, I'm doing it because I can pull the account balance or anywhere, even if it is not income statement, I can pull it. Okay, for this particular cost center, how much am I spending, or how much I'm getting a revenue, right? Because
okay,
it is centralized. Either it is a payment or a revenue, it is being, if the business model is centralized model. So that is how I come in. So that's where this kind of allocation rule comes in. If it is just only then I know financially, okay, fine, this is what it is happening. It is not for small companies, they do Oracle, right? If it is for all big companies which is doing it, generating one cost center, the value, it is most important, the income statement, income and expenditure statement at the drawn at the cost center. It can be for a product, or it can be for a department, or it can be for a project, but the cost center. Okay, so when I'm
okay,
saying that, then it should reflect the right financial value, right? If it is not the financial value, the stat, then I don't feel, I'm not able to appreciate why are we doing this, just to have it. At HR level, headcount, all that I can understand. But when it comes, especially for such kind of thing, when we're doing it against a cost center, I'm not able to how do I say, appreciate, or how do I unable to enrich this particular feature, like why it is always should be stat, why it is always should be stat. It should be distributed. When we do it manually, this is how we do it, right? We don't do it in the bookkeeping, we don't do it with the stat journals, isn't it?
Okay, so let me call this as the source journal. Okay.
Because most of the time the company might redistribute it cost within inside.
Okay. So all
Be-
I'm asking is that, I mean, I'm just asking this to understand. Okay. So
mm.
probably I might have not seen it. So if I can get it, so probably I'll take this. So just give me this debit and credit entry. So what you will give. So the first leg is there. So the second leg for the basis. So what would be the entry that we
No,
will.
I'm not going with the allocation manager. Whatever we discuss this scenario here, right? This is the
Okay.
actual scenario, the rent and cash. And when I do the allocation, it should be this scenario. To achieve this, what I'm supposed to do within the allocation manager. This is the
Right.
business scenario. Okay. To achieve this, it should be in the actual. If I'm paying it in INR, it should be in INR. If it is USD, it should be in USD. To achieve this, how should I actually do? How should I use the calculation manager?
No, my point is, see, one side you have, so if you don't want to use stat as an currency, or you want to use USD in this case, so you will need two legs, debit and credit. But here we will not be able to give debit and credit, because here if you see, so I can use only the debit or credit, so I cannot use both, right? So that's the reason we are going for stat. But if we can somehow nullify the effect, so here if you see, so this rent and this rent is nullified. So similarly, if somehow we can nullify the effect, I'm fine with this. But as per my knowledge, so the reason why we are going for stat is that, so first thing, we will not be able to post only the debit item or only the credit item. And second thing is that, so unless we give what is the head count, or how do system understand that this should appear on the debit side or this should appear on the credit side. So it is based on the stat journal that we are passing. So these are the two reasons that we are taking stat. But if we can accommodate this the temporary accounts, I mean the combination, I'm fine. But for basis, what would be the debit and what would be the credit is my this thing, because I couldn't exactly look at the view that you are saying, because for me these are the 2 points. So these 2 points, if I use functional currency, it will not accommodate is my understanding.
So you mean to say I can, for this scenario, I will not be able to use calculation manager to achieve this?
Yeah, we cannot use, right? Because if you use calculation manager, so we will have to give basis. Because unless I give basis, so system will not understand this basically. So we will have to give how this should be nullified. So now if I give functional currency here, so system will not understand, right? So that's my point.
No, I don't understand why system will not understand based on the currency whether it is debit or credit. Is that the logic they built it in a calculation manager? Only stat should be created so that only if we choose the currency as stat, it will go create a debit entry. Is that the logic they have created?
No, I'm saying, so no, I'm fine, but I'm asking only the debit and credit side. So what do you want to have it on the debit and what should?
No, I'm not. That's what I'm saying. How do I represent? This is a scenario that we were discussing, right? Express
Yes.
journal. This is the actual journal, okay? And
Okay.
whatever it is there. It should be the allocated journal. Roll number 11, and this thing down. Whatever we discussed should be the allocated journal.
Correct.
Okay. To
Okay.
achieve this, how am I going to use the allocation manager? That is my question. I don't know whether you have to use offset value, or how do you whether it is basis on formula, or it is on evenly distributed, all that I don't know. How am I going to achieve this scenario? That's my question here. If this is my business requirement, How am I going to do it?
Now, to achieve this scenario, we will have to use the stat journal. That is to input.
No, I'm saying no. I'm not saying it should be a start journal. My business requirement, it should be in functional currency. For me, the actual is in functional currency. I'm saying allocated journal also. I wanted it to be in functional currency.
So that's what the business should tell me what will be my debit and what should be my credit.
That is what I'm saying, right? The allocated journal should be, this is my debit and credit, whatever you wrote it. The row number 11, yeah, this is my allocated journal.
No, this is my output, right? What will be my input?
My input will be my actual journal. See, I'm not talking with the
Correct.
aspects of allocation, your allocation manager here, Arun. The first question is what I'm booking. It's probably I book it from one of my AP system. Okay. So it says it is
Okay.
booked. So the journal entry comes to my general ledger. So there, the
Okay.
accountant, okay, he's trying to distribute it for this month of January. He's trying to distribute this cost. So in that case, this is how he used to, he will have an entry to distribute across the cost across his branches. Okay, so he booked this entry. Okay, in the INR or USD, whatever it is at the functional ledger currency, he's booking it. So I'm saying this is how he does it every time. So when they purchased Oracle, they're saying, oh, they have something for allocation features. This is what I distributed every time. So is it possible for you to do it automatically? So in that case, how am I going to satisfy this requirement in my calculation manager or allocation, whatever naming that we give? How can we achieve this?
No, but that is what I'm saying, right? So unless you satisfy this condition, so you'll not be able to generate this output. Because see here, I am sharing the screen. So here, if you see, so this is standard form that Oracle has given. So unless I give the information here, so I'll not be able to complete it. First thing. Second thing is that, so if I give this as an my INR or USD, whatever it is, so I'll not be able to post that one leg is what I'm trying to say.
If then why in the calculation manager, why have they given us it like if it is a stat, go up? I mean, go
Okay.
to that calculation manager. I'm still not convinced. How can Oracle say you satisfy this? We Oracle has to find the business scenario can be anything. It should say, okay, I cannot satisfy this in my thing, and there should I'm okay. If you go back right in the next wherever you had the basis,
Okay.
okay, in the currency, what are
Okay.
the list of value? Is it always start?
No, you have the other currencies as well.
Why if Oracle cannot, as you said, only if stat can have two legs like a debit and credit entries, why is Oracle is providing other values? It should be always stat, right? I'm not questioning you. I mean, this is all my queries. Okay, it is not.
Okay.
I'm trying to defend myself or anything like that, Arun. I'm trying to understand. Okay,
Okay.
because I don't have answer on this calculation manager. So I was just thinking, if I have to
Okay.
redistribute my cost in my actual functional currency,
Okay.
how can I adopt it? How can I fix that requirement or map that requirement in this calculation manager? That is what I was thinking. That's where my question came up. So this all is a discussion here. It's not that I'm
Okay.
defending, I'm trying to prove my point. I don't know. It can be possible, it cannot be possible. I don't know. But I'm trying to see.
I mean, I understand, but
Mm.
the only question that I'm
Mm.
having from starting till now is that, see, the reason
Because
why,
I don't,
yeah,
Arun, I don't know calculation managers. If you ask me how will system understand where it will pick up on debit entry, I really don't know. All I'm trying to understand is how are we going to map this? That's it. Till now I haven't worked in touched this calculation manager.
okay,
So since you are saying it is a basis which will actually create your debit entry. Okay, I was thinking, okay, this goes and creates a debit entry. Okay,
okay.
I don't know how this calculation manager engine will work. I really don't know. I was trying to map, okay, if this is a business scenario, how do I actually do that in the calculation manager? Just to trying my example to fit in. That's it.
Okay.
Because you worked it, you might know, okay, fine, we can do this and this, change this, change that, or avoid this. You can give me some solution to it. But I have not worked in a calculation manager at all. So why it occurred to me is, usually we will enter a journal for the mass, there's head count and all, right,
Right.
Arun? In our world, we will pass one actual stat journals, right? Based
Correct.
on that SAT journals, we will allocate this head count or square feet or anything like that. For that,
Right.
we will ask the accountant to go enter one STAT journal as such actual journals. For that, I will have an allocated journals. Other thing, it will go distribute in the actual functional currency. That's how I have seen. So here I got confused. Why would we have to always choose a currency as STAT? That is where my question came in. Understood from where I got it? From where I'm
Yeah,
picking it up?
yeah, I got it. I
So,
don't sound argumentative, but the
uh,
point for me is only this thing. So here, if I want to give, as you said, I can give the account, whatever the account, and the currency as an the functional currency or whatever the currency, INR or USD, that we can give it. But if I'm giving it, I should have this journal in posted status. So now, if I want to have this in posted status, and again system will generate another entry which will nullify the effect of the source journal. So the other leg will be an unbalanced entry. So if I say, let's say another clearing account, so then again I'll have to pass another entry to knock off this particular leg, that is credit leg. So that's my part. So that's what I'm trying to say. I mean, this is not the only solution for this. So if we feel that this will not work out for us, so what we can do is that we can simply use the distribution set. Even that is similar to this, because what distribution set will do. So let's say I have 10, probably the location or the cost center or the project. So I'll distribute among different cost center or project or the department. So that will have my distribution set. So simply I'll add one line. So in that one line, I'll say this is my distribution set. So that will give the same information or the same representation. So what I'm doing it here. So instead of passing one journal and then again coming back and then calling it. So instead what I will do is that I simply pass this particular uh, entry from the subledger itself, because here in this case if you see, so let's take an example of rent. So I will have my debit and credit as one line, but whereas if I look at my ledger, so I'll have to compare two lines. So instead we can use the distribution set also, so provided the percentage and these things are done manually, so we can do that also. So this is not the only solution. So probably,
yeah, I understand. But
yeah,
usually, when we are distributing across the cost center, right, we don't take care of with the distribution center, because sometimes we will have this segregation of duty violations, right? Now, like if a person is booking for AP, it should be for only one business unit, or if it's associated to it, something like that. Okay, okay, fine. Let's not waste this. Let me also be clear. I will think through it. I will start reading about this. Then I will have a discussion again with you. Hmm? I
yeah,
may
yeah,
whether I'm able to from where my doubt is hooking onto it. Let me actually go through the document. Huh? Then I'll come
no,
back to you. Sorry,
yeah,
I wasted your
yeah, no,
time.
no issues, no issues. You can read and then probably, as I said, if
Yeah,
you,
yeah, definitely. I will start reading it and see where I'm doing this.
sure,
Because
sure.
it's been long since that I saw art well, like
Yeah, yeah,
screen. Because from where I'm coming here is my current client is Bank of America,
okay,
and they are not using calculation manager. I was so
okay,
surprised why they are not able to use the calculation manager for all their mass allocation and their
okay,
allocations. Okay, they have something called, since it is a banking, It's like every day, for region to region, they have lots of programs for years together, and different branches, different cost centers, their product. Okay, so they have to distribute the cost. So they don't use this calculation manager. I was thinking why Oracle should be capable of doing it. They said it did not meet their requirement, and it is all like they took whatever was there in 11i, they put it in cloud. It is not that they were trying to from the scratch trying to map the solution. Okay, they just took it, they put it in cloud. It is not that they're using the cloud functionality. Okay, so that's where I got stuck. Then I couldn't get what is it. So they use something called a external interface table, where it pulls the balances dynamically. It pulls the balances every time on time from Oracle database. They have something called a data repository, which is the replicate data replication for reporting. Okay, Oracle has something. So they take it from there, this particular application, and they do the calculation. So the calculation will be they wrote it in a code. Take the account, and for this account, go distribute it for this and this. Redistribute your costs for all of this. So it is when it distributing, it distributes in the functional currency. The ledger currency, the accounted currency or the ledger currency, they do it. So I was thinking, why can't they achieve this in the calculation manager? Because we can have a formula or anything like that, but I don't know. In the code, have they introduced any other logic? I don't know, because they don't expose the code to me. So I don't know. So that's where I was thinking, why can't we achieve this in calculation manager? So that is also one of the reason when I saw it is only currency state, that is where I got stuck. Okay, but they distributed the allocation cost. They distribute it in the ledger currency. They don't distribute it in the start currency.
Yeah, understood. So that will not have this process itself. So it's the simple query. So if I run the query, it will probably generate another journal, so which will distribute
It's
basically.
like it will redistribute. It will create a allocated. The category will be allocation. It goes and post it in the ledger, and then it is all report, and the balance is all populated, and everywhere it is reflected. So it is the functional currency, and it gets knocked off, but what the source entry is, the actual entry is. So that's where there is a business requirement where we need to use only the functional currency also for redistributing the cost. At least in banking sector, I have seen, and in one other like infrastructure I have seen earlier. But I still I've not have a hands-on on a calculation manager. I don't know. I'm trying to see if we do this, what will happen? If we do that, what will happen? That's where my question came. Okay. So I will read through it, Arun, this week or next week, depending upon my workload. Then we will have a discussion. Is it okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Thanks, Arun. Yeah, you can finish this. Let's run the mass allocation journal.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll just complete this result. Yeah, so this is again the rounding off. So probably if we have, so we can give this thing for the rounding off. Okay. So I'll just save this and deploy this rule. Save and validate. So this will validate if there is any error. Again, the last step is deployment. Okay, so now the deployment is done. So what I will do is that, so I'll have this one. So this would be my stat journal. I think I have taken it for this thing. Project I did not take, I think. Just is 210 and 840. Okay, and the range is it is 810, 820 and 830. Okay. Okay, so the deployment is done. So I will create two journals. So first I'll create this one for rent. Okay, so this is in USD. Okay, so my line of business will be 10. Okay, my company is 101 and account is rent. I think it is 63510. Okay, so this is 63510, 01 and 00. Let me change the line of business because I couldn't see zero there, so probably zero should be parent, I think. Okay, so this is 10 and this is the account cost center. Cost center is 210. And the product is 840. Okay, and the intercompany is none. So this, let's say $1 lakh. So similarly, I'll put the credit entry also. So this would be my cash. combination is invalid. Okay, let me say this is 0 0 maybe, and okay, maybe the combination is there. Okay, so this is for 1 lakh and this is the combination that I'm creating. 210. Okay. Okay, this is done. Okay, so this is for, okay, so this journal is fine, so I'll just save and post this entry. Someone has put the upload rules, not sure why. It's funny. Okay, I think needs to be approved. Okay, I think this is in test. So someone has enabled the journal approval. I'm not sure why. Let me check if some category can be in the exclusion list. If not, I'll just upload a rule and we'll see. better I'll just create one approval rules.
Arun, can't we take that from journal source or category? Can we take enable whether approval is required or not? Can we disable that or?
That also we can do, but I'm thinking this will work. Okay, we'll check that maybe. Yeah, that's what. Here they
It
did
is
not.
no, it is from purchasing, right? Whatever we do, it is manual, right?
Okay. So, okay, yeah. Okay, maybe.
Hmm?
Yeah, I think
And
so.
yeah, and category also we can check. Does it overrides category at the category level?
Yeah.
Journal approval. Okay.
Okay. So here it is. This one only. Okay, I'll just create a new one.
Yeah, we can copy. If we copy this, it will be a thing or it will not.
Yeah, so this field is frozen, so probably I'll just only copy the combination and I'll create a new one.
Oh, even if we copy the batch, the approval will be enabled.
No, this we have submitted it already, right? So it
No,
will.
no. If we copy the batch, right, like a new journal, if we copy the
Okay,
batch,
yeah, okay.
then will the approval still be applicable? Not
So
applicable, right?
yeah, it will be not up, right? Mm, okay, let's see.
Okay, the source is auto copy. Oh, it's only the category we are able to change. So the category should, the source should be manual then. Okay, got it.
Maybe I'll just. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I'll for the second entry also.
What is the second entry?
This one, stat journal. So I'll just do this process. Maybe you can just check and let me know so we can discuss.
Yeah, sure.
I'm thinking this should be similar actually, because if we see here, so we have three values to be distributed, but here we have more. So I think this will. Okay, maybe we'll try. Okay, maybe. Okay, so I think the line of business is 10. Okay, it is 0. Okay, and the account is 9230. Okay, and okay, the cost center is 610. Center is 630. So stat journal is also done. Okay, so both are completed. So let me try to generate the allocation for this. Okay, before that I think I made changes but I did not deploy that. Let me complete this process. Okay, so it is deployed. So I'll just say generate allocations. So the role that we created is,
Arun, this
yeah,
deployment will run any concurrent program? I mean, any jobs or nothing?
no, it will not generate.
Okay.
So it is just inside EPM.
Okay, okay, got it.
So I think this is rent allocation. Yeah, it is first. So now, since we selected variable for the accounting period, so it is populating. So it's based on this rule, it is generating the second line. So basically, if you have the other member or the other dimension also, if you have it as a variable, so when you are running this allocation, so it will ask. So if whatever is dynamic, so which cannot be given as a static value, so we can select. So in this case, probably the period will be not a fixed one. So I have just given only the period as a variable component. So November 23. Yeah, so this is the one. Okay, so I'll just disable this checkbox post allocation because that will post the entry automatically. Yeah, so this has generated the journal. Okay, so this is the batch name. Okay, yeah, this is the one. Just give me. Okay, so the reason why this has aggregated is, so I expected, because here if you see, so I have this as 3, but here if you see, so this is almost equal to 10. So I did not include all the values, but it's almost 10. So now, since the lower one is 3, so it has picked the lower one. So unless we have both as equal 1, so basically it will not pick. So that's why it has did this one.
So this allocation journal is in USD, right?
Yeah, USD only. USD only.
So this 63804, this first line, credit line, was our the first journals, rent journals debit line, right?
Yeah, correct. So this is the offset for that first line, and it will distribute in the consecutive lines.
Okay, so you did not create any stat journals?
No, stat journals we created it manually, right? So the second journal. So this one. So we created two journals. So first one is our actual expense booking, and the second one is stat journal that we created. So this is the one that we created. So we distributed among different cost center and different projects. So this we created it manually.
No, in allocation process, did it create any stat journal?
No, allocation will not create a stat journal. It will create only one journal. So this allocation process, I will just open this one. So this, if you see, so this will basically create only one journal, which is the actual allocation or distributing the expenses. So this will not generate a stat journal. So stat journal is basically we are creating it manually.
Why do we have to create it manually?
That's what. If I want to tell to the system what should be the debit or where exactly the system should do the offset and where exactly it should distribute the expenses. So it's the stat channel where I'll specify these things. Because if you see that wizard, the setup part where we gave the basis. So system will look for the basis and system will look for the source and the offset. So now this offset is basically used to offset the rent expense that we booked. That is our first journal entry. And this source is being picked up to understand what is the account code combination and the entries, how it should be picked up. So basis on the source, so what is the actual distribution that I should do. So that is being done here in the stat journal. So if you see, so what we have given in the setup, so I'll just open the setup again. So I'll just say next. So here in the range, if you see, so we have given this one, that is 600. So which means that has 10 different accounts inside that. So I'll just show this as well. So if you see here, so we have 10 different accounts, but the journal, if you see, it's only 3. So it's basis on the common aggregation of values that we have given in the stat journal. So that's the purpose of having this stat journal basically.
Okay.
Okay.
Arun, is it possible
Yeah.
for you to? Okay, this is the link I can go see, right? Okay. Can you just email me this link alone? I will go
Yeah,
see.
sure. Yeah. This link is, yeah,
User and password.
yeah.
I will go see it in. I will go see try
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
It will be there until this whole week, right? It will not get refreshed.
Yeah. It will not be.
Okay.
So this will be there. So this environment and the credentials are there in the group. So that is from there I just took this one. So it is in the
Oh,
group.
okay.
So
Okay, got it.
I'll put this journal names and this rule name also, so that you can refer that.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Okay, so that's about the allocation rule. So maybe you can just check once.
Mhm.
Maybe we can take the questions
Yeah,
next
yeah,
week.
sure, sure. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, next topic I have is budget. So you want to start now, or you want to push
Shall
it to
we
next
take it
week?
next week?
Yeah, sure.
Arun, my daughter, she woke up, so.
Yeah, no issues.
Okay.
Okay, then we'll
Mm.
meet next week.
Yeah, sure, Arun. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Good night. Have a good one.
Yeah,
So you can share the recording.
yes. I'll do that.